This is a blog for Thursday. Um, Today in class, I thought that the rest of interrupting the pipeline was really interesting, and I guess it's so hard in education because so many of the problems that we can identify are just systematic and they're so big, and there's really nothing you can do as an individual teacher to solve problems like we saw in the video. But I think it's a daunting thing to look at how you fix an entire system that's letting thousands of kids down every day. Um, but you do what you can within the system and hope for the best. So yeah. Um, I also thought the discussion on how to get to know your kids was kind of helpful and to hear what other people have done. And yeah, I guess what I keep reminding myself is that it's not just a beginning of the year thing. You don't send home a worksheet that has your favorite food and favorite ice cream and things like that. It's a daily process with your students, and I think sometimes you learn the most from them in those moments where you're not expecting to. Just something they say or a class discussion that turns away you weren't expecting, and students will just reveal themselves in bits and pieces. So I think it's a lot of listening to details and yeah, just earning that trust of the students so that they feel comfortable saying that stuff in your classroom. Um, but I thought there's some really neat ideas and from both elementary and secondary, and it's kind of fun to try to adapt everything to meet the needs of your classroom. So, um, looking at the readings for tomorrow, I am really excited about this topic because my cooperating teacher last year was phenomenal with parents, and the principal and school psychologist called her the parent whisperer because she could get parents to do things that no one else could in the school could get them to do. And I'm going through the readings, and I realize that it's probably because she does a lot of the things that were in the article on Prowl. I forget who the author was, but yeah. So I guess I had a really great example last year to watch that in action and see how it worked. And one of the most important things she taught me was to call the parents beforehand with something good to say. And she kind of targeted it specifically for kids who were known to be problem kids. So if they had a history of behavior problems, she would do those kids first. The first week of school, she would call and she was the nicest person I've ever met, just the nicest person. So it was really easy for her. She would just go on and on about how wonderful their kids were and they did this really nice thing today. And even if it was something simple like, oh, they shared their crayons with a neighbor, and really see that they have a passion for this, and um, parents want to hear good things about their kids, and they think their kids are really great. And if you don't think their kids are great, they're not going to agree with you for anything. So that was really helpful, and it worked wonders on the kids in our class. And we had for our key players in our problem group, um, she had all of the parents working with her, communicating. And one way that she communicated really well was there were two kids in particular who every night, one of either myself or my cooperating teacher would write an email to the parent. And it was just, he did this well today, we had problems with this, or he had a great day all the way around. And that way it was quick for us. Every day the parent knew what was happening because it's kind of hard to get notes home when they're going home with grandma or grandpa and everything else. But email worked really well for that. But you could do the same thing with notes. So yeah, it really worked well. And I think when dealing with parents, I think we can forget that like our students are like they're babies. That's everything to them, and it's really hard to hear something negative about your child or yourself. And so I don't remember the exact number, but it's something like for every negative thing you tell a child, you're supposed to tell them like 5 or 10 positive things to make up for it. I think that's true with parents. It's not a fact, but I think it's true. And so if you tell your parent one negative thing or one weakness, I guess, really surround it with a lot of positives about the child, because every student has tons of positive things. No matter how much of a pain they are in your class, they're a great child. I have not met one bad child. They might not behave the way you want them to at certain times, but they're not bad kids. They sometimes have circumstances beyond their control that make them act certain ways, but they're great, great kids. And so making sure you communicate that to the parents when you're addressing a problem is also so helpful. And yeah, but I'm really excited to learn more because I really like this topic, and I think it's super important to have a bunch of strategies in your toolbox when you go into the classroom for this. So yeah, that's it.